Hello everyone, welcome to the Devil's Art Club. I am Zeroo. I hope all the videos I have released until now has been useful and you were able to understand everything that I have said. So later on, when I checked the recorded files, some of the audios were missing and it had some issues. So I ended up having to re-record the audio. And now let's begin the official video. As you can see on the video, I have now started to work on the flower part on the face. The old one that you can see, we only used it as a placeholder so that we can later on work properly on it and give it a really good design. I have decided to use a basic primitive sphere for a base and flattened it out, and we will be now using this brush called Snake Carp 4. I think that's the name, Snake Carp 4. It gives a very interesting shape to our models. As you can see on the screen, I have also turned on the Sculptris Pro as it automatically adds in polygons to it. I mean extra edges, right? It automatically adds extra vertices and faces, so we don't really have to worry about it. We can easily fix the topology later if we want to, but this is more of a concept video, so we don't have to worry about that right now. As you can see, we can just keep on dragging and make really interesting shapes. Now we have already finished creating this one petal, and we can use it to create multiple ones. We can duplicate it and add some variation onto its shape and create like a unique looking flower. Now as we have finished the main flower design, we are going to create a simple stem, like a what is it called, a stigma of a flower, right? The long part of a flower, it's called a stigma, right? So we will be using this cork tube. It is a very simple and also a really useful tool. We can create so many unique shapes with it, and I have used it to create this long stigma looking thing of the flower that comes out from the center. And we will be using fiber mesh to create different smaller parts like hairy bits, like smaller hairy bits is coming out of that stigma of the flower to give it this very alien or this creepy unique texture, right? This unique textured look. We have already talked about fiber mesh in our past video and used it, right? So I will not be explaining about it. I think it will just make the video longer. I have decided to do a very simple and quick poly paint for the flower to make it stand out a little bit from the body of our character, and we will be using the pen tool inside ZBrush. So for the pen tool, we can press BPA as a shortcut in the keyboard, and we can very quickly pick up any color and just paint it, like how we do digital painting inside Photoshop or Clip Studio, any kind of software that you'd prefer to use. It is very easy. It's just like painting, traditionally or digitally painting. I'm thinking of talking about the polypaint later, during the texturing stage, a little bit more in depth. So right now we will only do very basic thing. As we have already finished our block art phase, now we will start working on the secondary shapes, creating the folds and wrinkles of the body. We are still not going to do any kind of detailed work, okay? Just creating some secondary shapes. As you can see on the reference that I have used, the man on the corner, right, whose reference we are using, he has some really nice skin folds around his chest area and in his stomach area. So we will be using it as a reference, and so we will be using the folds in the image that we are seeing as a guide and create it into our character. I want to make this character look a lot more bloaty, as if it is swelling, and some lumps are forming in its body, because this character is a dead human body, right? So as in our story we have decided in the previous video, this alien parasitic plant creature basically kills the human host and uses its body as a host and controls it to find other humans to infect them, to transfer their spores to the other host. So I'm making it a little bit more bloated and slightly creepy, but also maintaining the humanoid shape, right, at as much as possible. I have decided to work on the hands and reduce the number of hands. We had a lot of them. I mean, like, we added quite a bit of the hands. So decided to remove it and reduce it a little bit, as if it is only coming out of the soldier. So the arm, that it looks like a worm thing that is coming out from the shoulder. It is more highlighted. Now we are just doing some additional details on the head area, especially around the teeth, to just define the shape a little bit. We are still not adding some those smaller final details, right? We will do it slowly at the very end. Right now let's just focus on building this shape and just adding some secondary shapes. We will be working on the stomach area and the chest area also a little bit more, adding some folds and just making them look really nice and pretty. So now we are going to use this really interesting technique that is inside Zbrush. We can go inside the mask, the mask section of Zbrush, and when we click it, there will be this separate function called a mesh function. I think that is how you pronounce it. And if we click on it and then mask any area of our subtool character, whatever we are sculpting at that time, it will create this unique like a very net, it looks like a net but a very organic texture, and we can use it and create very interesting shapes. I'm using this for to kind of create a very this gooey skin texture that is on top of our character and covering a certain part of the body to make it look more interesting. So after creating the mask, we will be using the inflate, inside the deformer menu or deformation menu, and add a little bit of noise. It is going to look really interesting. And then I am also going to use the inflate brush to just uh, give it a little bit of an extra volume to make it look interesting.